morning, good morning, good morning. Good morning, good morning. We welcome you to the Florence Unitarian Universalist Fellowship, temporarily at the Senior Center. We take pride in honoring the first people of Florence, that would be the Siuslaw Indians, who always strive to protect our environment, especially where we are today. We give thanks to the tribe, past, present, and future generations. Good morning.
Good morning.
So, before you take a seat, I want everybody to stand. And we're going to open our service, like we do all the time, with Spirit of Light. It's number 126 or 123. The words are in the program, and Jeff is playing via Jay. So, we're going to sing Spirit of Life.
Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Through holy goes, ways set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me.
Yes. Thank you for helping to lead that. I remind everybody to turn off your cell phones and to remain fully masked while you're in the senior center today, unless you're up here talking, because I think we're at a pretty safe distance. In the program, you'll notice we've got some birthdays coming up. I think we just celebrated Mary James, and next week we have four: Deborah Jordan, Jennifer French, Natasha Kupris, and Ray Plummery all have a birthday next Sunday. Won't that be exciting? And then we've got a couple of hikes coming up. Donna Smith will be with us next week. And then on August 26th is our grand reopening. Yay! And for those that may have forgotten, we meet regularly Highway 101 at Hesita Beach Road. That's where we're going to be on the 28th, okay? And then from then on. So that's going to be great. So the grand reopening on the 26th at 6 p.m. Do we have an announcement you want to make about that, Xana?
Yes,
Okay. So Xana's going to come forward, and then we'll continue with some other announcements.
Oh, do I have announcements? Okay. I have announcements about volunteering. Remember that?
Yes, I love the volunteer.
Oh, you volunteer a lot. So we're going to get lots of people involved in volunteering. First thing I'm going to talk about is our open house. Okay? I have sent out already a whole bunch of these. Anybody get one in the mail yet?
Yeah.
Oh, great. Okay. So there are some extras over there. Now, if you know of anybody in the community, or anybody that's visiting, or anybody you want to hand one to, or mail one to that is not on our list, we sent out about 75 of them, so we have more over there. Take a couple with you, invite people to come and see our beautifully new renovated space on the 26th. And on the table, you will see there are two sign-up sheets stapled together. One is to bring appetizers or desserts. Now, I will tell you, on the 26th, we'll be there from 6 to 8. If you're going to bring something, make sure it's finger food, not pudding or something like that, okay? Because we want stuff that could be refrigerated and left there for our Sunday service 2 days later, if you can do that, like cookies or chips or something light. We're going to provide drinks, but please sign up, some of you, to bring some extra goodies for, for distributing.
And there's a sheet at every table.
What's that?
There's a sign-up sheet at
There's
every
a sign-up
table.
sheet at every table. The first one is for, to bring stuff. The second one is for cleanup. We need some volunteers to stay after And we just have our beautiful new kitchen that's going to be so much fun to work in. And so sign up just to do cleanup afterwards. Okay, we really appreciate that too. Okay, not done yet, because here's our reader list. And this one I am going to pass around as usual, because we are good through the 28th, but beyond that, I don't have greeters signed up. So I am going to pass this one around, and it goes all the way till November, second page. Okay, so you know how much fun it is to be a greeter, and it's going to be even more fun in our brand new space. So I'm going to pass this around, and please do that for me, okay? Any questions? Any concerns? When you sign up on the one on the table, just leave them there, and I'll come around after service and collect them. And don't forget what you're bringing. And don't forget the date that you sign up to be a greeter, because I'm not going to call you. Karen did that, but I'm not good at it.
I didn't do that.
Oh, I thought you did that.
I think we're all adults in this group.
Oh, all right. We're all adults, and you can put it on your calendar to know when you're, and if you can, if something comes up,
I said I think that I can say I can prove it.
if anything comes out that you can't do it, that's perfectly understandable. Just give me a call. I used to have my number on here, but it's in every program for volunteering. Okay? Good?
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
So again, remember what you're bringing, remember. What do you got, David? Can you wait just a minute? I'm not there yet. Hold on just a second. So on every table, you'll notice there's a little vase with a little flower in it. That's courtesy of the Florence Senior Center. But there's also, on most of the tables, a little votive with a candle inside. These were handmade by a friend of our fellowship, who shall remain nameless. And it's got a candle inside, and if you like that particular votive with the candle, please take it home as a gift from this anonymous donor.
That has my vote of confidence.
It's got a vote of confidence. And if you see one at a different table you prefer, then just plow over to that table and take it. Right, I'm just saying. So thank you to our anonymous donor. And if we like these, I think he's even, did I say he? So it must be a he. Oh, okay.
Gave it away.
Anonymous, he will make more. And you'll notice that there's the UUA logo on it. So it's a specific UUA. He received permission from the Unitarian Universalist Association to use that logo. So thank you to our anonymous donor, Tom. And thank you to our greeters this morning. Who came in early to help? Well, Xana was here. Ruth was here. I was here. Who else? I think that was the greeter committee. Thank you for that. Any other announcements that you'd like to share, David Mills? Come on. Come on.
Well, we had a successful first night of registration for community chorus at the Presbyterian Church on Thursday. Most of them are new people. I don't know what happened to the old ones, but anyway, a pretty good sized group, and it's going to be fun. And registration is still open. I think in the blast, Deborah Larson, who is theoretically just our treasurer, but she does a lot of different things. That's not part of her job description, but she does it really well. This coming Thursday at 6:30, we have registration again. And then from that point on, we'll be meeting at the Presbyterian Church from 7 to 8:30 when we do this. But anyway, no auditions. You just need to kind of carry a tune. You don't have to be a sight reader. I'm a really lousy sight reader, so I try and stand next to somebody who is. But anyway, we'd love to have you, and it's a lot of fun and a fair amount of work. So join us.
And then Ruth has an announcement. She's got a new class coming up, so pay attention.
Yes, everybody. So I wear multiple hats, as you all know, and one of them is with a small congregation in Waldport. And they are a unity congregation, and I'm going to be doing lessons in truth for the 21st century, starting Wednesday, 6 Wednesdays, 2 p.m. in Walport. There's a flyer on the table with my books over there, and you're more than welcome to join us if you're at all interested in how you get from, I wonder how it works, to, I know how to do it. Thanks.
Sounds good.
Good morning, everybody. A couple people, when I mentioned thank you to the volunteers that came and helped us the first opening day on Thursday, 2 weeks back. Miss Sally.
That was the free lunch program, make sure you tell
The
me.
free lunch program. I just want to remind you guys, we're only doing one Thursday per month, not every week like we used to do in the past years. It's the first Thursday. I appreciate all the volunteers that came out. We had a wonderful deal. 2 things I need most important from September the 1st is our next one coming up. It's on a Thursday. Is I need people that can cook. We don't want to eat my cooking, that's for sure. But anyway, be coordinating, and you know how to reach me on the bulletin as well as call me. Appreciate it. All the volunteers are always welcome.
Yeah, it's really kind of fun. I showed up a little bit late this last month, and 2 folks had already started chopping the potatoes and making the bacon, and then I took over and made the wonderful loaded potato soup. It was just fabulous. So, Don, I think I'm on the books maybe to cook for September, but I'll clue in with you and Judy, okay? Okay. Wow, any other announcements? This is great. Look around, everybody. Look at who's here today. This is wonderful. We've got a full house. So, but I look forward to being back in our space and be home again. I'm going to invite Xana to come forward. If you'd help light the chalice for us, I would appreciate it. I'm going to share these words from Julianne Lepp, titled Open to Unexpected Answers. We seek our place in the world and the answers to our heart's deep questions. As we seek, may our hearts be open to unexpected answers. May the light of our chalice remind us that this is a community of warmth, of wisdom, and welcoming of multiple truths. So let it be. Vanna, would you like to share your joys and concerns?
I'll be your Vanna White over here. There you go. So meet me up here if you want to share, okay?
Yes, I'll try to do this correctly this time. Please come on this side,
Yeah,
so
yeah,
you
go
go
on
on
here.
in front of the camera. This is a time of service where we remind each other of the power of community. We stand as a witness for each other and reach out in compassion where it is called for. So I will share the first joy, and that is that I am progressing in my own personal healing physically, and I'm so grateful for that. And I just expect to get better and better until I have my knee surgery. Something after another at this age, isn't it? But I'm so grateful, and I have so much empathy for those who have to go through this process even longer than I did. Mine was very short, and the healing was very rapid, and I love that I have the doctor scratching his head because he doesn't quite know what happens with me. So I love that part. Thank you all so much for your support and your loving and caring. And that is indeed what community is about, especially with this community. So if you'd like to share a joy or concern, come up, please, on this side and share with us.
You're going to drop a shell as you...
And drop a shell, or we can do it for you if you like.
So you can take one.
Oh, I get to drop one, that's right. My joy.
I haven't been here for a while. I miss being here. I'm a nurse at the hospital, and I've stayed away for a while because I just wanted to make sure that I was protecting everybody at the hospital from anything that could possibly go wrong. But anyway, I just wanted to tell you all, thank you for all these beautiful cards that you made us and sent us through the years where COVID was so awful and difficult. And and all the goodies that you put together. And I mean, you guys just did a beautiful job of supporting us, and the little notes just were so encouraging and helped me so much through so many hard days. And I also have something I'm very grateful for. Larry and I are Baha'is, and we finally were able to do our Baha'i pilgrimage over in Israel. And it was just a blessed, holy time, and we just really enjoyed it. So, anyway, I feel so fortunate to have done that. And I'm very happy to be back here, just ready to be back.
Hi. I have the great joy, Darius and I, my husband, have the great joy to welcome our first grandbaby into the world about a month ago, Darius Jedediah Montgomery.
Does anyone else have a joy or concern? I can bring the microphone to you, and here comes our ever popular Jay Gatler.
Thanks, I don't know about ever popular. Anyway, I'm a reader of Heather Cox Richardson's newsletters, and today's a anniversary of Social Security. And a whole plethora of those social functions that we all take for granted, and I thought it was worth mentioning.
Drop a shell. Let's drop a bunch of shells. How many are on Social Security? Let's see. Thank you, and thank you. Thank you for the reminder.
Yeah,
That's a good thing. Oh, Ron has something?
It's not so easy to get around for me. Up and down makes it hard. I just wanted people to know that the Democratic office is officially going to be open this week. It's at 375 Laurel Street, and we need volunteers there for staffing. And it's typically 2 hours a day or 4 hours a day. It'll be your choice. But this election season is extraordinarily important to our country and our democracy.
And although this church does not take a stand one way or the other, you are invited to share your own personal belief. Gotta say that because I don't know if you heard, but there's a group out there that's now gotten church status, and it's a hate group. It's not a church. So we want to maintain our church status by doing all things church, okay? So thank you, Ron, for suggesting and reminding people who might be interested in your political stand. It's your political stand, right? Thank you. Anyone else?
Always count on Sally to keep us on the straight and narrow.
You don't want to lose that status.
Absolutely not.
And we also want to make sure everybody's comfortable here, so it's not like us telling you anything. You can have a personal opinion, please share it. So thank you, Ron, for your personal opinion.
And the letters that we volunteered to write a little something in and send out, they just said vote. They didn't tell you how to vote. They said, please just get out there and vote, because that is our democracy, just being able to vote whichever way you choose to. Okay, one more shell, and this is for all that we don't know about today. The shy ones, depressed, lonely, ones too proud to reach out, because they have always been the strong ones. And the ones that are just bursting with joy right now. Maybe they're out in the beautiful sunshine today, and they're thinking of us right now, and we're definitely thinking of them and spreading the joy. I'll close with a quote from one of my very favorite books, A Course in Miracles. The journey to God is merely the reawakening of the knowledge of where you are always and what you are forever. It is a journey without distance to a goal that has never changed. And so it is. So it is.
So one thing I failed to do a few minutes ago was to ask if we have any visitors with us today. Anybody who's here for the first time, Karen has some books that we'd like to be able to hand out to you. Karen, can you make your way up here? Is there anybody here for the first time? I think Joan is been here before, but it's been a while. So anybody else here for the first time? Great. Joe, would you like to stand and just say hello and wave your hand, or not? I don't want to put anybody on the spot except for Ron.
I'm in the Presbyterian Church, and I think you've probably all have heard of it. He's got a wonderful minister, and he's a special man, but I like your church too.
Well, you're welcome.
I think all of you have a good heart, a good soul, and you're concerned of other people. So I admire your church too. That's all.
Thank you, brother. And please accept that little book of haiku meditations as our gift to you, and we welcome you back anytime, okay? So now, if you would, join me in a responsive reading. It is in your program as a handout on the other side of the music we're going to sing, and it's called Together in a Sacred Space. So I invite you to read your portion, which would be congregation. So, in this sacred place, we need not be alone. We seek a listening ear, a warm heart, open arms.
In this sacred place, we join together against the waves of negativity and oppression in our world.
We are a community of individual beings, living our own lives, yet coming together now and then in joyous celebration of spirit and one another.
Our differences do not divide us, rather they are a source of interest and discovery. We need not think alike to love alike.
Here, joys are shared and sorrows comforted. We are seen and heard and believed.
My compassion overflows, our hearts reach for others.
We are a gathering of like-hearted people, and here for our hearts filled. We hear the wisdom and counsel of our ministers, and that of one another.
We have much to learn from each other. So many different colors of truth and ways and methods.
In this sacred space, may we find what our spirits desire and what our spirits need. May we be grounded in love and sharing.
In this sacred place, may we find acceptance and consideration.
May our actions and words echo what we learn here. Thank you for sharing that with me. Now we're going to sing. We're going to sing again, okay? We're going to sing what is known as hymn number 188. It is on the back side of that particular responsive reading. We have Ruth Miller up here with Karen and Mark and Deborah and Xana, and I'm going to move out of the way.
We got a choir.
And we're going to sing Come, Whoever You Are. And I'm going to turn this over to Ruth because she said she was going to lead it.
Oh.
We are all leading it. Come over
You
here.
know this.
I know quite well.
Oh,
Some
good.
people.
That we needed
You
you.
over there?
Yeah, we got it.
I guess we have a two-part
Do
lead.
we have music?
Anybody wants to stand? We're not, this is a round, but we're not doing it as a round.
No.
We're gonna sing it through once up here, this group. Yes. And then you can hear the music. Come, whoever you are, wonder, worshiper, lover of living, ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. All of us. Come, whoever you are, wonder, worshiper, lover of living, ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. Now you know it, again.
Dig it.
Come, whoever you are, wonder, worshiper, lover of living, ours is no caravan of despair. Come, yet again come. Woo-hoo!
You guys did great. Very nice. Very nice. Very nice, very nice. It is my honor to introduce
our old friend, not that she's old. I'm in trouble today. Our dear friend, Ruth Miller has been a foofer in mind, body, and spirit and soul for so many years. And we have always enjoyed her to be here with us to share her special message. And today is no different. It's my privilege to introduce to those of you who don't know her, the Reverend Dr. Ruth Miller.
That was a very, very sweet introduction. And I have to say, I'm looking at that order of service and all the work that you put into that. My goodness. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Isn't she amazing?
Yes.
I love that woman. Yay! All right. So I told Sally I gave myself a birthday present, and I'm really enjoying it. It's a marvelous device. And it doesn't speak to my printer.
Not yet.
Not yet. Well, Windows 11 is not allowing me to use my old Windows 7 HP printer. Yeah.
By design.
And I had some things I wanted to share with you from other people, and so I wanted to make sure I actually had the words correctly. You know, that works a little better than kind of faking it. So if you read the introduction for today, what it says is our willingness as Unitarian Universalists to accept each other's spiritual journeys is valid, even when they're different from ours, is perhaps our most appreciated quality. Right?
Yeah.
I can come here and I can just be me, and I can think what I want to think, and it's okay. And that's marvelous. And from the various UUA websites, in Unitarian Universalism, you can bring your whole self, your full identity, your questioning mind, your expansive heart. Our spirituality is unbounded, drawing from scripture and science, nature and philosophy, personal experience and ancient tradition. And that's why I feel so at home. Although I have to say, there have been a couple of UU congregations where people get upset because I dare to use science and scripture or science and spirit in the same language, same sentence. Ooh. For me, it's all one. All right. As you use, the website says, we commit to a free and responsible search for truth and meaning before we even know what we'll find. We commit to this search. Now, we don't always realize we're doing that when we sign on as members. We think, oh, well, this is a really good group of people and I'm happy to be here. But we said, reaffirm and promote these principles, and one of them is this search. So, according to one of the Unitarian ministers in Maryland, Paige Getty, as a faith tradition, and this is a hard one for a lot of people, this is a faith tradition. Unitarian Universalism makes sacred the right and responsibility to engage in this free and responsible quest as an act of religious devotion. So going into something not knowing where you are going is an act of faith, isn't it? That is our faith tradition. We are willing to move into a direction that nobody has told us it's got to be a certain way or it's going to be a certain way. That is an act of faith. And we hold it as an act of religious devotion. And religion is one of those weird things because in our culture it's become this institution that most people who are attracted to Unitarian Universalism don't like very much. Right? So what is a religious devotion? Religio, binding together. A devotion that binds us together, whether it's individually binding us together within us or together with the world, or as a community. She says, institutionally, we've left open the questions of what truth and meaning are.
acknowledging that mindful people will, in every age, discover new insights. And that's part of what's happened. If you've been involved with the UUs for any amount of time, you see that we've adopted new principles as we've gone along. Back when the Unitarians and the Universalists came together in the 60s, there were 6 principles. And then in the 80s, the interconnected web of life got added to that. And in the last few years, there is this other one about acknowledging people who have a different orientation. And I don't think it's been adopted yet. They were going to look at it at this last General Assembly. So we have not only this commitment, this act of faith, we have not only this devotion, but we also say it doesn't matter what your source of information is. It can be scripture from here, or here, or here, or here. It can be the lives of the people around you, or lives from history, or from that deep inner knowing that Ralph Waldo Emerson called intuition, and other people call inner wisdom. So what are we talking about when we talk about truth, meaning, responsible, free? Right? So in the discipline that's known as philosophy, which is often defined as the quest for truth and meaning, truth is seen as that which is absolute. It is either true or not true. It's a binary correspondence. It is this or that. It is true or not true. Whereas meaning tends to be relative. What has meaning for you may not have meaning for me. And a lot of things that have meaning for me are totally meaningless to you. Right? So meaning is relative. So my search for meaning is going to take me in directions that maybe you wouldn't even want to go, and vice versa. But truth is an absolute, in the sense that it is either corresponding to what is known and accepted by a group of people that you're willing to accept, or not. Because there is no reality to compare it against, really. There is no objective reality. We use it as much as we can, but as the quantum physicists have been demonstrating, it is malleable, as the Hindus have taught us for thousands of years. So, truth, it's a binary thing. Meaning is a relative thing. When the Unitarians say free and responsible, we're saying that we're encouraged to find our own way. It's free. We can go whatever way works for us, as long as my mother used to say, we don't hurt ourselves or anyone else. That was her definition, the limit of freedom, right? You can do whatever you want as long as you're not hurting yourself or anyone else. Okay? We're encouraging questions. We encourage ways to explore. When I was a child in the UU congregation, science was part of Sunday school because it was a way to explore and find what might be truth. And no constraints from a personal or organizational creed or anyone's stated opinions. And those are the 2 core qualities of a free search in Unitarian Universalism, yeah? Yet, we have to be responsible. We're free to go anywhere we want as long as we're not hurting anyone or ourselves. What does it mean to do a free and responsible search? Well, we do the search not in an ivory tower separated from everybody else, but in our daily interactions. We are responding and responsible with other people as we do it. And we use reason to guide us. We don't just go, boop, 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 boop. We go, wow, that looks interesting. I wonder where that goes. And it's interesting because at least one of the various documents out there on the subject suggest that we use the scientific method as our guidelines for exploring truth. Now, for those of you who don't remember your 5th grade scientific method, that means we observe something, we formulate a hypothesis. I wonder if maybe this would explain what I'm seeing. And then we test our hypothesis over and over again. And then we compare our results with other people and let them try it too. It's all of that before we come to a conclusion. Which is why you can never say, science says so-and-so, right? Because the scientific method by its very nature is constantly shifting and changing what is being discovered and said. So it's a study of questions. It's a mode of questioning and exploring, not a statement of what is so. So if you happen to know any legislators who are upset because science keeps changing what they're saying, you might be able to help them understand. All right. And then the real big one for Unitarian Universalists. Our responsibility is not to impose our ideas on other people. That is so hard in our culture. I have the answers, let me tell you how to fix it. Yeah, I know how to do this, you do it my way. Look, I found the truth. Here I'm teaching this course called Lessons in Truth, right? And what she is saying is that when there is alignment of the mind, the body, the spirit, with the way the universe actually functions, then all kinds of good things can happen. Oh, well, that's a nice meaning for the word truth, isn't it? All right, so what's really cool is that we recognize also in our responsible search that your search and my search may come up with different answers, but I might find elements that work in mine, in whatever you thought. So I might study a variety of spiritual traditions and scriptures. I might listen carefully to people who are saying things I wouldn't normally want to hear. And that's what I really want to focus on in the remaining time that I have with you today, is how can I put up with what I don't want to hear? Because, you know, it'd be so easy to follow the easy way, right? And only connect with the folks who are in agreement with us, or are in alignment with us, right? We can avoid the search. We could actually accept someone else's authority and say, okay, that's it, I'm done, I've got it, that's my search is over. Well, I got to tell you, if you're in a body, your search isn't over. So if we can begin to get that we could go that way, but that's not exactly being free or responsible, then we really have to begin to be willing to hear what we don't want to hear. Now, there are a lot of things out there that most of the people in this room are very uncomfortable with. Sacrificing animals or people for an invisible deity. Painful and potentially injurious rites of initiation that don't seem to accomplish anything. The separation of children from parents for other purposes. For some of us, the idea of magical incantations and spells, magical thinking, how dare they? For many of us, mea culpa, mea culpa. I have sinned. Oh, I know some buttons just got pushed. And then there are the altar calls. Yeah. And the missionaries that come to the door. Have you found Jesus in your heart yet? Praise God Almighty! Merciful Jesus, relieve us of our sins! I know I got a bunch of you. How can we possibly continue the search beyond those triggers if we're stuck in the trigger? I have a discipline. It's called listening to conservative Christian radio. Once or twice a week, for as long as I can do it. Because there are kernels of truth, even in the most dogmatic, doctrinal, limited thinking that is being promoted in those environments. I have another discipline. Listen to conservative, quote unquote, pundits, radical right pundits on the radio. I only do that once or twice a month. But it's for the same reason. And I look to see what is getting triggered here. What is getting pushed here? And I have another discipline. Listening to the most radical left pundits I can stand. Because frankly, they trigger me too. The extremes are the points at which we all have our issues in our culture. It's rarely the middle. That's why centrists generally get elected. And so what's happening at the extreme is telling me something not only about the culture as a whole, but about me. What is it that I have experienced in me that causes me to have this emotional reaction of distress and sometimes deep anger and upset when I hear someone speaking these words? Wow. What happened to me in my childhood or in my young adulthood that made that become almost a survival issue? It is so intense sometimes, isn't it? Our reaction to what we hear or what we watch someone do. It could be that our parents did it in a way that was so pushy, if you will. So intense, so you gotta do it, so authoritarian. They attached so much negative energy to it that we repelled and we rebelled and we went off the other direction and said, never again, I will not, I will not. And those of you who have been parents know that you ended up doing what your parents did at some point. We all did. And some of us went, whoops, look what I'm doing, and shifted. Yeah. I was just listening to a man the other day who was saying that he ended up being a single father of his son. And he had vowed he would never do what his father did. Until one day he was seeing himself do what his father did. And he went to the school counselor and said, help. I thought that was profound. He said, I never wanted to be that person, and here I am. So one way out is if I am seeing out there something that triggers something in me, therapists are handy and helpful. Right? But there are other things. Sometimes there are decisions that we made as a child, like I'll never be that, or, oh my goodness, if it's like that, I don't want anything to do with it. Right? Whatever that was. And it might be a church, it might be a way of functioning in the culture, any number of things like that. Well, if we've made that decision, we can unmake that decision, can't we? It's a choice. It's a decision. It's not, as we were taught in school, hardwired into the body and mind, because now, since the 1970s and 80s, we have understood something called neuroplasticity. We're not stuck with these choices and decisions. Now, Thomas Jefferson understood that. Can you believe that? that long ago. He said to his nephew in a letter, divest yourself of all bias. Shake off all the fears and servile prejudices under which weak minds are servilely couched. Fix reason firmly in her seat and call to her tribunal every fact, every opinion. Question with boldness even the existence of a God, because if there be one, he must be more approving of the homage of reason than of blindfolded fear. We can do this. It is possible to rid ourselves of these prejudices and biases that have kept us from going further on our journey, on our search. It's called Hegg's Law. Neurons that fire together, wire together. That's one of the ways that we can do this. And that is simply to repeat over and over again what you intend whenever you find yourself doing what you're not wishing or not feeling good about or not wanting to experience more of. You feel that happening, you go, no, and you choose that which you intend. Joe Dispenza's work is based on that, and he has a lot of meditations to help people do that if you want to follow up on him. There are other ways that are all related to this. What we are doing is we are saying whatever habit of thought that I have set up in this neural network we call a brain is about to get changed. That connection there, I'm breaking it so that there can be that connection there, right? And one of the ways that was used a lot in the 70s is simply retelling the story over and 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 over until you really can't stand it anymore. And that energy that was so attached to that idea and that event and that choice is pretty much washed away. It works for a lot of that stuff. But both the idea of saying, no, not that, or over and over again because I can't stand the, until I can't stand the idea, require what I call replacing. It's not enough to express it and release it. We have to replace it. But we're on this search, this open-ended search. So what am I going to replace what was my block, what was my wall that was keeping me from going forward? What can I replace that with to make it possible for me to go forward? Well, at the very least, you can replace it with the idea that this is an open-ended search. There are no blocks or walls. There is no end point here. I will continue to find truth everywhere I look, and I will continue to find meaning everywhere I am willing to allow my own understanding to dissolve and a new understanding to emerge. Yes, that's a truth I can live with. And what's really, really interesting, and a lot of you have heard me talk about this before, is that we are part of an interdependent, interconnected web. And so there is no way that one person can change without the whole web changing. If I've been doing this, that's what's going to happen. But when I can become more open and discovering, everyone around me tends to do the same. It's laid out in great detail in something called family systems therapy, but it's essentially become known as Rupert Sheldrake's morphic field. The field that I am contributes to and transforms the field of the whole. So system dynamics and morphic field theory together make it clear that each of us, as we can dissolve those blocks and barriers and hard points in us, are helping to dissolve them for everyone, everywhere. And that is the great, great gift that Unitarian Universalists offer this world. And I thank you for being willing and for having committed yourself to this free and responsible search in every aspect of your life. Thank you so much. Xander, you want to turn down the light? And Jay is going to play a little music. And now we're going to kind of take some of that into a deeper place. You okay with that? Mm-hmm. I'm going to use the water. So we want to take a nice, long, deep breath. And just relax into the body in this place and this time. And relax the mind with another deep breath, just allowing the thoughts and the feelings to drift away. Here and now, this present moment. This is the point of peace, the point of light, the point where life is. And we breathe. And as we breathe, we're aware that all the wonderful elements of the air are moving in and through the body. And if we pay attention, we can also be aware that there is an energy in the air. Call it the quantum field, the Holy Spirit. The energy of life, chi, prana. And it moves in and through the body with every breath. Breathe it in. And as we exhale, we breathe it through. And that energy touches and enlivens every cell, every muscle, every tissue, bringing them all into wonderful harmony, simply as we breathe. And that same energy moves into and through our minds and dissolves any issues or thoughts or feelings that are not harmonious with who and what we are. Simply as we breathe. We allow that energy to fill our being with light. The light of life, the light of love, peace, body and mind. This light and life that we are, this deep peace of wisdom that we are.
gift of being. And as we breathe, we feel it expanding, expanding beyond the body and filling the room, expanding beyond the room and across the community. We see it with our mind's eye, the beauty and the joy and the peace, filling the world simply because we're breathing. Right here. We rest in that for another minute. And then we take another deep breath, a cleansing breath. And with the cleansing breath, we bring ourselves back into this room and this time with this wonderful group of people. And we give thanks for this being so in our lives. And so it truly is.
Thank you, Ruth. Thank you, thank you. I remind you that after service today, Ruth will be here, so stick around. She's going to be towards the back of the room and enter into a dialogue circle and really share what you think about her talk, the message about our fourth principle, and anything else that was shared today. Be a part, stay around. Ruth will welcome you back there. So our community partner for August, we continue from July into August, is the food backpacks for kids. Now, for those of you who don't know what this is about, this is an organization that provides food to our little kids on Fridays, so they have something to eat over the weekend. And it's a pretty big deal, as my grandson would say. And they've been doing this for many, many years. The money we raise helps them buy their supplies, helps them put gas in the van, and they're all volunteer-led. So it's a good organization. We really appreciate your generous contribution to that particular organization. I'm also reminded that generosity is one of the spiritual values that we recognize as central to our personal and our institutional well-being. So you are now invited to participate in the blessing of giving. Please remember that all our lives we are in need, and others are in need of us. For those viewing our recording, if you'd like to make a contribution to our fellowship or to food backpacks for kids, you can send your donation by mail to P.O. Box 2502, Florence 97439, or visit our website. Anyone can do that at any time, 24/7. Click on the donate button and you can make your contribution as there at that point. So as the basket is passed here in a few minutes, if you're unable to make a contribution today for whatever reason, just offer your silent prayer of thanks as the basket is passed around. So I ask that you repeat after me. Divine love through me.
Divine love through me.
Blesses and multiplies all that I am.
Blesses and multiplies all that I am.
All that I give.
All that I give.
And all that I receive.
All that I receive.
I am prosperous now.
I am prosperous now.
Blessed be. So Karen's going to walk through the aisles, and again, if you're able to give, on one side is to our fellowship, Florence Unitarian Universalist Fellowship. On the other side is for food backpacks for kids. Thank you. Enjoy the music that Jeff pre-recorded for our enjoyment. the table, feel free, sign up, put your name down, let us know if you want to bring an appetizer or a dessert, and whether you will be one of our official greeters starting in September. We really do appreciate those who show up a little early to meet and greet our particular friends and guests. It's a good thing. So we thank you for your spiritual practice of giving and loving. Your contributions and love are received in grateful appreciation. And let Xana to come forward. We're going to extinguish our flame in our lovely chalice. And remember those chalices that are on your table. If you like that one, please take it with you.
No fighting.
No fighting. Arm wrestling? No arm wrestling. So these words come from Cynthia Landrum, and it's entitled, Be True, Be Well, Be Loving. As we leave this gathered community, we don't leave our connection, our concerns, and our care for each other. Our service to each other, to the world, and to our faith continues. Until we are together again, friends, be strong, be well, be true, and be loving. Are we ready? I hate to close this service because I think it's fabulous. But we're going to ask that you stand and form a big circle around all the tables. If you feel comfortable, you can hold hands or lock arms. We're going to sing our peace song. The words are in the program up back. Ruth will lead us, and we are going to sing this, and I think Jay's got some music to play. So David, you want to come down? Okay, go ahead. We'll get it.
Go ahead, Nita. Yep.